Welcome to the next video in the Mastering Salesforce Campaign series. In this video, we will show you how to use Salesforce Campaigns to track your sales rep outreach programs. You may have certain initiatives that involve your sales reps calling people to introduce a new product or feature. Maybe you are attending a trade show, or you want to schedule meetings with your current customers or prospects while you are there. What are you using to track the effectiveness or the progress of these initiatives? We will show you how to use standard Salesforce campaigns and activities to link the result of the activity to the status of the campaign member using Flow. This will allow your sales reps to log their activity and update the campaign member status all in one step. Let's hop over to Salesforce and see what this process looks like. This video is going to piggyback off of all the steps that we completed in the Mastering Salesforce Campaigns Setup, Record Types, Statuses, and Hierarchy video. In that video, we showed you how to set up your campaign hierarchy, how to standardize your campaign member statuses, how to set up record types and types, and then we also set up a specific scenario around the InsurTech Connect event. We highly recommend that you watch that video and complete the foundation steps in that video so that you can work on what we're going to show you here today. Now, our scenario with the InsurTech Connect event involves having two sales reps, Henry and Sally, do an outreach prior to the event to try and secure meetings with some of our prospects and our current customers. We have set up two different campaigns, one for Henry and one for Sally, to track this outreach. Now, if we open up Henry's campaign, we can see here that 54 leads have been loaded in 9 contacts. These are the people that we want Henry to reach out to. And so the thought is that Henry will log a call against each of these leads or contacts to try and secure a meeting. He will update that task to indicate what happened with that call. Did he leave a voicemail? Did he schedule a meeting? And then we also want him to update the campaign member status of these campaign members in this campaign. Now, that's going to be a really tedious task for him to log a whole bunch of calls and then come back to the campaign and update the campaign member status. We want to make this really easy on our BDRs and SDRs because we know how hard they work, and we want to give them a one-step process. We want them to log the call, relate that call to a campaign, update that call to be left voicemail, scheduled a meeting, whatever the result of the call is, and then have all of that update the campaign member status of the campaign all in one step. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a flow off of the task object that will allow them to do it in one step. We're going to go into setup, and we first need to create a couple of fields here. We'll go to Object Manager, and we're going to go to the activity object. And we're first going to create a pick list for the team to choose from to indicate what was the result or the outcome of the call. Now, Salesforce has a call disposition field that's a standard field, but it's an open text. We need a pick list. We need the value to be exactly the same every time somebody enters it. We're going to call ours result of call. You can call yours outcome, call results, call dispositions, and then we're going to give them a series of values to choose from. Left voicemail, bad phone number, no answer, scheduled meeting, and declined meeting. If you have others that you want to add in here, feel free to add those. We'll click next. Make sure you give the right permissions, and then we're going to add this to the task layout. Now we have one other field that we want to add. This is going to be a lookup to the campaign object. We'll just call it campaign. And then this is what the SDRs and BDRs can use to relate their activities directly to a particular campaign. Now you may ask, why aren't we using the related to field, the what ID? And the reason is because that field is often used to relate tasks to activities. So in the scenario where you want to relate a task to both a campaign and an opportunity, you wouldn't be able to, and the opportunity is always going to win. So we recommend creating a lookup field to the campaign so that you can always relate any task to the campaign without preventing you from being able to relate that task to an opportunity. Now here, this is asking if I want to show the activities related list on all my different campaign page layouts. I'm not going to add it to my parent layout because I know I'm not going to ever have activities related there, but for the others I might. So I'll add it to all my other page layouts. And now my 2 fields are created. All right, our next step is to create our flow. Go to flows, new flow, record triggered flow. This is going to be on the task object. We want it to fire whenever the record is created or updated. We're going to leave our entry conditions blank here because we're going to use a decision element because we want to show you what you can use if you want to take all these elements and put them into an already existing flow that you may have on your task object. You just want to make sure that your flow is going to run whenever the task record is created and or updated. Now we're looking for a completed task with a campaign and call result. So we're going to look for our status to be completed. Then we want our campaign to have a value. So campaign is null, is false. Then we want our result of call to also have a value. So is null, is false. Then we only want this to fire if the record that triggered the flow is updated to meet these conditions. This will prevent the flow from firing over and over again. Now, if a task comes in and it has that criteria, then we want to look for a campaign member. So we're going to say get records, and we're going to look for a campaign member record. Our object will be campaign member. And then we're going to look for the campaign ID to match the campaign that the user selected on the task. And then we're going to look for the leader contact ID to match the who ID that is on the task, or the person that the task is related to. Then we want to check to see if this campaign member was found. So it's going to check this get variable right here. Then if this is null or not null, then it's going to be yes. So get campaign member is null is false. And then this will be a no. Now, if a campaign member is found, we want to update the campaign member status to match the result of the call. So this means that your pick list values in the result of call need to match the campaign member statuses on your campaign. We're going to use an assignment element here, and we're going to assign the campaign member status. We're going to assign the status of this record here to be the result of call value from the task. And then we're going to run an update on that record. Now we're doing it this way because it's going to make this flow have one less SQL query in it, because I've already queried the campaign member up here, and then I'm just assigning the status and running an update. If I were to look for this record by specifying conditions to identify the records, I'm then querying the record and then running an update. So that's 2 actions. So all these things add up whenever you're doing flow. So you want to limit those as much as possible. I'm going to save here so I don't lose any of my work. All right, now down the no path. So what happens if there's no campaign member? Well, I want to add the campaign member for my sales reps because I don't want them to lose track of the fact that they called this person just because this person wasn't in the campaign. So I'm going to add another decision element here because I want to check to see if this is a lead or contact so I can add them appropriately. So this first one will be contact, the second one will be lead. And then I'm just going to check to see if the who ID begins with 003. So all contact records in all orgs, their ID begins with a 003. And then for leads, all records begin with 00Q. That's the same in production, it's the same in the sandbox, it doesn't matter. And then our default outcome will be neither lead or contact. Now, if I'm a contact, I want you to add me as a campaign member. So we'll do a create campaign member here. And then my campaign ID will be the campaign from the task. My contact ID will come from the who ID on the task. And then my status will come from the call result on the task. Now we can just copy this. And then we're just going to modify it. And then we just need to switch out this for our lead. And that's done. And this is your flow, all set, ready to go. And we will activate. Now our next step is to create an action on the lead and contact that will allow your sales reps to log a call with a result of the call. It's related to the campaign and pre-populate any data that you can. So we're going to go to the contact object and we'll select new action under buttons, links, and actions. And we'll leave the action type on create a record. Our target object is going to be a task. This is going to be called log a call. We're going to make the API name log a call contact. This is so that we can tell the difference between the standard log a call action when we're in the page layout editor and our custom one. And I'm going to uncheck create feed item. That's what creates a record in the chatter feed. We do not need that. I'll click save here. And then I'm going to set up this page layout to make all the fields required that need to be required. We're going to make sure that we drop campaign on here and our result of call field. So this call result field, that's the standard text field. So make sure you don't grab that in case you called your pick list that same name. And we're going to make the due date required. The result of call will be required. The campaign will be required. And the name is going to automatically be populated. Our status will populate that for them. The priority we don't need, and related to, we'll pre-populate that for them. And then we probably also want the type for reporting purposes. We'll pre-populate that for them as well. Okay, we'll save this. That's going to be the layout. We forgot one thing. Let's go ahead and add our comments field in case they have any comments that they need to add. Now we're going to set our predefined values. Now here's where you should populate everything that you can. So we're going to make the type call. We're going to make the date today. You can make the subject line pre-populate if you want to. And then you can pre-populate it with fields from the record that the user is calling from. So maybe we want to insert the contact name in here, maybe you don't. You can do whatever you want here. This is just to show you that you could do this if you wanted to. It's nice when your subject lines of your tasks are consistent. Makes it easier to read in that activity history. Now we're also going to set the status to completed for them. All right, so those are all of our predefined values that we want to put in. Now we need to add this to the layout. Oh, let's do one more. We wanted to do the related to. We'll put the account ID in there and click save. Okay, now we're going to go to the page layout. So this is the page layout that we use. And we're going to go to our mobile and lightning actions. And here's our log a call. You can see that the API name says contact.logacall contact. We're going to switch this out for the other log a call. So this one is the standard one. You can see that in the name, log a call, no spaces, and we'll save this. All right, now it's testing time. Let's go back to Henry's campaign and let's pick one of these contacts to work on. So we'll go to Alex's contact. And we should see our log a call action here. And then this brings up the page layout that we just configured, and we're going to test left voicemail. And we're going to relate this to Henry's campaign. We'll click save. And we expect to see the campaign member status of Alex change from need to call to left voicemail, which we do. Beautiful. All right, so you're going to complete all those same steps that we did on the contact, where you create a custom action. You'll call it log a call lead. You'll do your predefined values, set up your page layout, do everything that you just did on the contact so that your sales reps have that action that makes it super easy for them to relate a task to a campaign and then have it update your campaign member status. And then if we refresh this little puppy over here, we can see that we have one person that has the status of left voicemail. All right, it's all working perfectly. Great job. That's it. That's a wrap. We hope this video gave you some insights on how to effectively track the progress of your sales rep outreach programs. Be sure to subscribe to Blue Tiger Academy so you don't miss out on the next video we are working on that will illustrate how to easily compare the progress of your sales rep outreach programs. We will show you how to create fields and how to use declarative lookup rollup summaries to see metrics like the number of conversations, the number of people you've called, the number of companies called, the number of meetings scheduled, and more. Let us know in the comments below if you have any questions or if you would like to see a video on a different Salesforce topic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.